Kenneth, I would like to tell you something, Nellie said after they had finished everything. What's it, woman? I hope it is not about money because I don't have money, Kenneth retorted. Nellie wanted to ask him if he would ever agree that he had money. He had never given her money without grumbling at first. Nellie had taken it as a routine. And if he gave you money, he must find another way to collect it back from you. It is not about money, Nellie replied with a straight face. Then what's it? Kenneth said, removing some meat particles from his teeth. Kenneth, my mother is mentally challenged, Nellie slowly said. Which one is mentally challenged again? You know I didn't go to school. She is mad. My mother is mad. Kenneth paused for a little, trying to put what he had just heard together. Did he hear her well? Madness, like real madness. Those people roaming around the market. What are you saying? He questioned slowly, trying to comprehend the whole thing. Perhaps he didn't hear her well, or perhaps she was joking. But that joke was too expensive. I mean what I said. My mother is a mad woman, and she had been living in an uncompleted building for years. Kenneth ran his hands slowly over his head and gripped his neck at the back. He gnashed his teeth and nodded his head. So it wasn't a joke. Then he acted like someone under the influence of hard drugs. He sprang up, pouncing on the table in front of them. So you know all these and you didn't care to tell me? What type of woman are you? He snarled, his eyeballs popping out, the anger spreading all through his body. Everyone in the eatery turned and stared at them. Nellie wished that the floor could open and transport her back to her house. People fixed their gaze at them. Kenneth, calm down please. People are staring at us. Nellie pleaded with a gentle voice. Don't you dare ask me to calm down again, you mad woman. How could I have not noticed this since? From the beginning I knew that something was wrong with you, but I couldn't place my hands on it. But now I know what the problem was. Why you have been acting like an angel all these while. See, Kenneth, I won't sit here and watch you insult me the way you like. It is not done that way. Nellie replied with a harsh voice. Her voice was high, as if he was shouting. It was her first time to disagree with Kenneth, and also her first time of raising her voice at him. It surprised Kenneth and he laughed out loud without minding that he was in the public. Now you can talk. Do you see the way you are talking to me now? Well, thank God I found out early. Who knows what would have happened to me? What do you mean? Nellie questioned. What I meant was that you will transfer your madness to me. As he was gathering eyes and attention with his blabbing, Nellie picked her bag and left. She didn't feel like a loser in that one. That was her only breakup that felt like a victory. It was a good riddance to bad rubbish. She also wondered how she would have lived in the same house with a man like Kenneth. A man with a lousy mouth. Once he opened his mouth, be ready to take whatever that came out from there. Not that he talked and nagged like women, but also because everything about him was annoying. She swung the door open, sprawled out on the bed. She exhaled and inhaled heavily. It felt good somehow. She felt happy and sad at the same time. Her friends jumped up in celebration when they heard what Kenneth did at the eatery. The way he reacted like a madman over a madwoman's issue. We told you that that guy wasn't normal, but you never believed us. One of her friends said, and they all chuckled. They told Nellie to do Thanksgiving in the church, to thank God for removing a man like Kenneth in her life. One said that Kenneth was the worst thing that could happen to any woman. After Nellie's encounter with Kenneth, Nellie had never had anything to do with men. She stopped hiding her mother's condition. What's the need after all? It was better to save herself from future heartbreak than what she had experienced so far. But now, Nellie's life was no longer the way it used to be. At the age of 33, she had no man to call her own just because of her mother's condition. She wondered why her brother's wife didn't reject her brother because his mother was mad. The lady had married her brother both in tradition and in church, and since then they have been living happily. But in her own case, all the men were afraid that she would transfer the madness to them. Did it mean that men couldn't transfer madness to women? Was that the reason her brother got married? She didn't know the answers to the above questions, but she kept on asking herself that question every day. Nellie was the only one unmarried among her group of friends. All her friends were married with children. Nellie had admired them all, but inwardly she felt jealous of them. She wanted what they had. Just a little experience of what true love was. Now it seemed like shooting stars weren't ever going to come out. What was the use of waiting for something that didn't know that you were waiting for it? Nellie sighed heavily, but as she was about to remove her hands from the window protector, she saw it. A shooting star. So she screamed luck, 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 luck up to 10 times. And with a face full of happiness, she went inside her room. Having wounded white towel around her waist, she darted through her sitting room and disappeared into the bathroom. The silver liquid ran through her body, giving her the calmness she craved for. She swooped low, allowing the water to submerge every part of her body and soul. After that, she went inside her room, dabbed the towel around her body. She picked her cream, rubbed it gently all over her body. With great carefulness, she applied all her makeup. The red lipstick flustered like a star. She picked a beautiful red gown from her closet, put it on and nodded her head. It was perfect. She deserved happiness even without a man. After putting on the dress, she took her red high-heeled shoes and silver bag. Time to club, she said to herself, and then spun around in front of the mirror. Nellie, you are beautiful, she praised herself, grinning from ear to ear. The multiple shades of lights at the clubhouse flickered around the whole room. It drew a straight line from this side to the other side. People bustled around with their glasses of wine. They were all happy, dancing to the rhythm of the music. Nellie danced around with a glass of wine in her left hand. All she wanted was to be happy, to dance away her sorrow, to accept life the way it was. So she put on all the energy to see it manifested. Just as she was about to go and relax, a man held her hand behind her. "Beautiful girl, are you already tired?" the man said and chuckled. "No, I am not tired. I want to fill up my glass," Nellie lied, smiling. Both of them went over to fill their glasses, and from there they began to talk. The man introduced himself as Matthias. "I am Nellie, the daughter of a mad woman," Nellie said, and the man stared at her, laughing. "Do you have to say that? What is the meaning of that?" The man questioned. "Nothing. I just want to bring it to your notice that my mother is mad, that she had been living in an uncompleted building for years." The man laughed out loud again. "You are so funny, Nellie," he said, his voice a bit louder because of the music sound in the background. "Is it your fault that your mother is mentally challenged? It is no fault of yours, so don't allow people to define you with your mother's condition. It could be anyone." Nellie smiled and said, "Okay, if you say so." "I said so, let's go and dance." The man took her hand and smiled. 3 days had passed since the day Nellie met the young man at the club, yet he had not given her any call like he promised. At first Nellie thought he was different due to the way he spoke that night, but the way things turned out showed that he wasn't different. They were all the same. Perhaps his mother has also dissuaded him. Nellie put on her hairnet, placed her head on the pillow, but as she was about to close her eyes, her cell phone rang. Who could be calling by this time of the night? Nellie signed, reaching out to her phone. The number was an unknown number. It wasn't registered on Nellie's phone. She stared at the number for a few seconds before pressing the green dot. "Hope I am speaking with Nellie," a man's voice from the other end asked. "Yes, who am I speaking with?" Nellie fired back. "Nellie, the daughter of a mad woman. It is me, Matthias, the guy you met at the club," the voice explained, while laughing. Nellie didn't know if she should be sad, happy, or angry. She felt the three simultaneously. How could he refer to her as Nellie, the mad woman's daughter? Must he rub it on her face that she was the daughter of the mad woman? Some people in foolishness were like 5 and 6, Nellie thought inwardly. Then she hissed, "Must you call me the daughter of a mad woman?" Nellie feigned to be angry. The man laughed out loud. "You were the one who introduced yourself to me as Nellie, the daughter of the mad woman." He laughed again and again. Nellie wondered if the man was all right himself. "I heard you," Nellie replied angrily. "Nellie, the beautiful girl, I was only joking with you. I just want you to know that your mother didn't choose her condition herself, so you don't need to be ashamed of it." Nellie smiled. "Thank you. So how was your day? Have you eaten? What did you eat? Did you club today? Did you meet another guy on your way home? Hope you told them that you have a boyfriend. No, that you have a husband." "Matthias. Matthias. Which one do you want me to answer first? And who is my husband?" Nellie laughed. "I want you to answer all of them at once." I am your husband, Nelly. Do you know that you look so beautiful when you laugh? How do you know if I look beautiful or not when you are not seeing me? So you don't know that I am a magician. You don't know that I can see you now laying on your bed. You were wearing your nightwear, your hairnet, and you were about to sleep when I called? Nelly's eyes widened. What are you saying? Baby girl, don't be afraid. Do not panic. I was only joking. This is exactly how fake prophets eat our money. They know what we ought to be doing at a particular time of the day. Like right now. I know that you are supposed to be in your bed, and as a girl, you must be with your hairnet and nightwear. From the way you answered my first call, I noticed from your weak voice that you were about to sleep. If I am a prophet now, with these you will call me the real man of God. Both of them let out a thunderous laughter. You just pulled my leg, I swear. Do not swear anything. Come and give your offering. Tell people that you have seen the real prophet. Matthias, you are crazy. Yes, I am crazy in love with you. Do you know that if you were a plot of land, that you are located in front of an international airport? You won't understand how beautiful you looked that night. I was like, who was this beautiful damsel dancing alone? Who born this girl we to dance for my dance floor? Nelly, you are too beautiful. Matthias, it is okay. Stop washing my head with detergent. I am not washing your head. I am telling you the fact. You are so beautiful. Nelly laughed until tears flowed down freely from her eyes. Matthias, won't you allow me to rest? Please stop. My stomach is paining me, Nelly pleaded. Okay, I will stop when you tell me the last time you laughed so hard like this. Nelly laughed out again. Matthias, you are so funny. Please, I want to sleep. I don't want my boss to sack me. If your boss sack you, I will employ you immediately. Imagine having a fine girl like you in my office. That means that all my prospective customers must buy my goods. Matthias, you are a comedian. My stomach is aching. That's what I want. I want you to laugh like this all the time. Matthias was truly another character, and Nelly confirmed it that night. Even though Nelly was asking him to hang up, she didn't mean it. She wanted them to talk till daybreak. How could she have imagined that a man like Matthias still existed? Before Matthias hung up, he asked Nelly for a date, and without hesitation, Nelly agreed. That was what she had been looking for. Nelly smiled throughout the night, even in her sleep. She dreamt about Matthias. In that dream, Matthias was fierce and angry with her. He asked her why he would have anything to do with the daughter of a mad woman. He used a long whip to send her out of his house. Nelly cried out. She told Matthias that she thought he was different. But as she was about to touch Matthias, he dragged her down, kicked her by the side, and left. Nelly jumped up from her bed. Her body was covered in sweat. As she was trying to contemplate on what she saw in her dream, her phone rang, startling her. It was Matthias. Slowly, Nelly pressed the green dot, awaited for her dream to manifest. My baby, are you already awake? I said let me call you so that your boss wouldn't sack you. Nelly yawned and covered her mouth with her palms. Matthias, good morning, sir. I am awake. Thanks for caring. Okay, remember our date tonight. I don't want African time. R7 should be R7. The time is a few minutes to 7 p.m. Nelly had already primed herself so well. She wore a golden sparkling short gown, golden high-heeled shoes, and a golden small bag. It wasn't luxurious, but it looked and smelled everything luxury. She put on perfume, her gold dangling earrings, and a beautiful wrist watch. Her hair stylist did a beautiful, nice job on her hair and with her outfit. Nelly looked like the wife of the president. Now, wait and listen to the praises Matthias poured on her. As Nelly stepped her foot into the luxurious restaurant, Matthias stared at her agape, lost in thought. All hail the royal majesty, the queen above every other queen, the first lady of the country, the formidable woman, my special lady, the apple of my life. You are so beautiful. You look so gorgeous. He took Nelly's left hand and gave her a peck at the back of her palm. Nelly was blushing all through the whole thing. She loved it. Matthias was the type that loved public display, and Nelly had to play along. She loved the fact that Matthias had accepted her wholeheartedly. At least he knew everything about her. She thanked her God that she had told him the truth. They ate the best dish, drank wine, and talked about a lot of things. Now tell me, Why did you introduce yourself to me like you did on that day? Matthias asked. Nellie had not anticipated that question. She cleared her throat small. Nothing, I just want you to know. Nellie answered. Does it have anything to do with your past relationships? Nellie nodded her head and tears trickled down her eyes. Matthias offered her his handkerchief to wipe her tears. You don't need to cry. Don't tell me if you are not comfortable sharing it with me. I understand. Nellie sniffed and cleared her throat. She told Matthias about her age, about all her failed relationships, even the ones that she thought would understand her condition. The way their mothers were always the problem. She narrated everything that happened to Matthias. At last she told him the reason why her mother was mad. Are you from Ike Village? Matthias asked curiously. Yes, I am from Ike Village. Why do you ask? Nellie fixed her gaze at him. Because I am from Ike Village, and now I think I know you. I also know your mother. For a moment Nellie didn't know if she should be sad or happy. She thought that everything had come to an end. I know you, Matthias began. I know when you used to visit your mother. I have been seeing you around that market square those days when my mother was alive. Sorry, Nellie cut in. Sorry for what? Matthias queried. For your mother's death? Okay, forget about that one. It has been long, though it's fresh in my heart. He took Nellie's hands. I wish you will love me the way your mother loved your father, Matthias said with a serious look. Nellie stared at him, perplexed, his words paving ways into her memory. What was he saying? Nellie reasoned. That was the best word Nellie had heard since her adulthood. A man appreciating the kind of love her parents had shared. She had hated such life, such love, but now it seemed she was about to love it. She was going to put those words into a portrait and keep it, where it would last forever. Her children and children must be told about the words. What are you saying, Matthias? She asked gently. My mother told me a lot about your parents, the kind of love they shared. She told me how everyone thought that your mother would not survive it after your father's death. My mother said that people were not much surprised when they saw your mother running mad because they had anticipated for the worse. Your mom loved your father so dearly, and I want us to mimic them. I want us to share such a bond. I want such love, Nellie. Nellie was dumbfounded. She had never seen something of such. This was a man that knew her family very well, yet he would love to marry her. People that didn't know her well rejected her, but this one is someone from her own side. The fact that he didn't care about what people would say was another thing. Nellie promised herself that she would always be submissive to Matthias. She told Matthias that she had never seen him before, not even in Ike Village. Matthias chuckled. You were a small girl then? Don't insult me, Matthias, Nellie said and clapped Matthias on his lap. Why didn't you people take her to the hospital at the initial stage? Matthias asked. Who said that we didn't? We did, but you know this country. We were asked to take her away because there was no money to foot the hospital bills. We had no other option than to take her away. This country is rubbish. Why am I not surprised? Because I know the kind of things they are made of. Matthias sighed heavily. Let's forget that one for now. When are we going to Ike so that I will see my mother-in-law to be? Matthias said. Was this the best word now? Nellie stared agape, perplexed, dumbfounded. Her whole body was in tremulous condition. Matthias had not even proposed, but his words were worth more than any amount of ring. She felt like screaming, jumping, hugging him, like she didn't know how to react to such good news. That was another word that would go into portrait. Her offspring would be glad to see it. They would know how she suffered, heartbreak, and how God brought a perfect man to her. God had answered her more than she had prayed for. They talked about traveling to Ike to see Nellie's mother and other important things. Matthias didn't stop his funny jokes. He made that night a memorable one for Nellie. It was an unforgettable experience for Nellie. Inside Nellie's room, Nellie threw her bag on her bed, yanked her clothes, wig and her shoes out and began to dance. She danced and danced and danced around the room. There was no name that she didn't call God that night. She praised God with different names. Abba Father, good of the 11th hour, God of the hopeless, peacemaker, beginning and the end, miracle worker, overdue, heavenly white horse. At last she screamed, Miracle no de tire Jesus. Everything happened like a movie. The thing she had been searching for outside had come to her from home. Who was she that God loved her so much? She had not even visited Matthias for once, and he was planning to go and see her mother, the madwoman other men rejected. Then she began to worship God again, to bless his holy name. Tears of joy streamed down freely from her eyes. She didn't bother to wipe out the tears. She allowed them to wet her clothes, to soak her body. They were all part of her blessings, her testimonies. She remembered what her father used to say. At the appointed time, everything shall be settled. Wasn't this the appointed time for her? Had God not already settled her case? He hadn't given her only a husband, but also a father, a man who loved her mother. He was ready to meet her mother, a mentally challenged woman. Nellie sank on bed and wept profusely. There was a time for everything, and her own time had just arrived. The next 2 days being Saturday, Nellie and Matthias set out to Ike Village to visit Nellie's mother. The journey was swift and smooth. They shared many stories with each other. Matthias shared how his girlfriend got pregnant by another man. He was the one training the girl in school, hoping to marry her after her school. But that marriage didn't work because she got pregnant in school. Did the person that impregnated her later marry her? Nellie asked. Marry who? The boy was a small boy. Matthias said. A small boy that can impregnate a girl? He didn't force her. It was a mutual agreement. She was the fool. So you stopped paying her school fees? No. I will continue to pay it because I am Father Christmas. She betrayed my love and trust. See the building, Nellie said, pointing at the uncompleted building. They parked the car and walked slowly into the uncompleted building, the new place Nellie's mother had found. Nellie scanned all the rooms there, but there was no trace of anyone there. Her heart skipped and her eyebrows widened apart. I visited her here last week. Where is she now? Or has she changed to another location? Nellie grumbled. Don't be worked up. Let's go out and ask people around. They went back and entered the car. Matthias moved the car slowly so that Nellie could ask those around or the passerby. They continued to ask until they met a small boy who directed them to her. Nellie saw her mother dancing around, children chasing her, and she felt a kind of shame. For a few moments she thought about what Matthias would say to her after marriage. She had heard that some men always insulted their wives because of their family background. But anyway, nothing had spoiled. She stepped out of the car and moved swiftly towards her mother. She tried to drag her, but her mother resisted. All the children stepped backward, staring at them with many thoughts wandering in their heads. Mom, come let me show you something, Nellie said to her mother. Leave me. Leave me alone. Who are you? Tell her to leave me alone before I bite her now. Nellie's mother threatened. Matthias was giving Nellie a sign to leave the woman, but Nellie persisted. She placed her hand in front of her mother. What are you still waiting for? Bite me, and I will die. You won't see your Nellie again, Nellie shouted. Her mother stopped immediately as if she had heard abomination. Nellie, is that you? She asked, and Nellie nodded her head. Slowly Nellie took her back to the uncompleted building while Matthias followed them with a car. She gave her mother what she bought for her and introduced Matthias to her. At that moment, one would think that nothing was wrong with Nellie's mother. She sounded so accurate in those few minutes. She had already aged so much, wrinkle all over her face. The next day Matthias made preparations for Nellie's mother to be taken to the hospital. He was the one that paid for everything in full. Nellie and her brothers were so happy. They thanked him profusely. Few months later, Nellie and Matthias became husband and wife. It was really a grand occasion. People from far and near graced the occasion. Nellie's friends came as a squad. It was a day they had been waiting for. They cheered and hyped Nellie with beautiful names. All her I Shall Be group looked so elegant and beautiful. Men stared at them agape. Matthias was a renowned businessman. His men also came in great numbers. Nellie's look on that day was out of the world. Nellie was overjoyed. Matthias ordered their outfits from the best fashion designer in the country. Nellie sent messages to Charles, Peter, and Kenneth with the caption, "Finally, I am getting married to the love of my life." None of them came to the wedding. Charles was the only one that replied to her message. "May God bless your union." Nellie's mother graced the occasion not as a mad woman, but as a woman who was giving her daughter's hands out in marriage. Although she hadn't recovered completely, at least she was getting back gradually. All her siblings were so happy. Matthias bought clothes for every one of them. Food and drinks were surplus, in abundance. People ate to their satisfaction and took some home. Even the child in the womb knew that something happened on that day. At last God answered Nellie's prayers. In Nellie's words, she would always worship the ground Matthias stepped on. Lessons. Destiny can be delayed, but it can never be denied. Wait for your own time because God's time is always and will always be the best. Hello, champions. Hope you enjoyed the stories. Please leave a comment below and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate your support. Thanks.
Hello champions, thank you for watching. Thank you for always watching and listening to my stories. Don't forget to hit the like button and comment. Just say something, anything about the story. Say something. Please drop a comment, keep liking, keep commenting and keep watching, and please subscribe to our channel. This is the face behind Igbotic folk tales and stories. This is the Igbotic girl with the Igbotic voice. Thank you very much. Thank you, champions. I'm grateful. I love you all.